Hey everyone,
It's Chad Church,
and Nikolai Phelan.
and we are excited to bring to you our brand new podcast,
Hullabaloo. Cross-generational,
media consumption podcast
where two gay men
from different generations
watch movies,
read books
listen to music, and more,
to bridge Gen X.
and Gen Z. I thought that was pretty good.
Let's do another take.
Buddy, my name's Nikolai Phelan. Welcome to another episode of Hullabaloo.
And I am Chad Church, the sidekick to Nikolai Phelan.
No, you're not the sidekick, co-host of our podcast. We have been on quite a journey. I think we haven't played catch up in a minute. I went to Prague. I told you that, right?
Yep, you did. I taught you
Yes.
when you were there.
Yes, you okay, so Prague was really amazing. It was Prague, every single time I go to it, it's very significant. Like every time I'm in Prague, it becomes this really like transformative experience. And I really appreciate that it's that way for me, because it's not, I don't think that if I lived there, I would feel that way.
Probably not. Or you'd end up in a bunch of shit like I did, and
Yeah,
that's
because
not good.
that's the thing that I was thinking, is that you had your own relationship to Prague, but there is something very ostensibly like dark or noir-esque about the
Mhm.
city. And it has like a strong mafia past, right?
Yes, it does. For somebody who's seen that past up front.
Really, you've
Yeah.
seen that past.
Well,
I guess you can.
I saw the Russian recreation of that, I guess, present when I was there, but a story for another time.
Yeah. Well, so the thing that I did, who lived in Prague had told me about it, was that he said to me that basically it was like lawlessness up until the like 90s
Yeah,
or
the
something.
Pink Revolution.
Right. And so that they would like policemen would get their heads chopped off and left on their doorstep and like really crazy stuff. And so for me, it was crazy because it was just a totally different vibe than I've ever had when I went to Prague. Like I went to Prague this time for a comedy festival. It went super, super well, but I was kind of like, why am I here? Because I didn't originally sign up for the comedy festival. Like I signed up and then I was like, oh, I don't think I'm going to be able to go. And then they accidentally booked me.
Wow.
So they were like, oops, you're in a hotel room. And I was like,
The accident.
so I go, okay, I guess I'm going. And they were like, we'll cover some of they covered the flight and they covered the accommodation. So it's just me covering like, food and everything. I go, okay. So I was like, well, the universe has made this happen. Why am I here? I go, I guess it's just some, chance to focus on comedy. And it was that, but it was also an opportunity to experience other comics for me. Like the Prague comedy scene has some really serious comics.
Nice.
And the tone, and the thing is, I love the Barcelona comedy scene, but I sometimes feel that the systems and structures that exist here are so caring. Like there's something about the Barcelona comedy scene that's very, almost overly compassionate, I would say, where it's really wants to take care of everybody. But sometimes I think that it doesn't do the best job of filtering talent. And so you have a lot of people that have not progressed, and you have some people that are very, very good in the comedy scene build with people who are not. And you ask anybody in the scene, they'll tell you that. In Prague, it's not like that. They have, I mean, judgment aside, Dave Chappelle is, he's kind of a complete transphobe and has made trans people the basis of his last like 3 years of comedy, but he is legendary outside of that.
You can be legendary and a dick.
You can be a legendary asshole for sure. And so I don't know the guy. I can't say. I can say I really like a lot of his, like, older material. His new stuff, I really don't.
Mhm.
But he was there. He came to the comedy club there. We
Oh,
don't, yeah. And they had this other comic, April May, who's like this redhead. She was super funny. She's doing a lot of crowd work. And it was just awesome to be in the presence of like really awesome comics.
yeah, I bet, huh? Makes you feel like you're taking it up a notch, right?
Totally. And it was just this feeling of like, and I got this message that came to me from, I don't know who it was. Oh, it was this woman who's from China, right? And I don't know where I think Denmark is where she's performing, but she was like really nice. And I really liked her comedy. And she's very deadpan. And she said to me, in New York, because I said I'm going to take my show to Fringe in New York, she said, in New York, you have to be faster than the audiences because New Yorkers are so smart and quick thinking that they're going to beat you to the punchline a lot.
Wow.
And if they're beating you to the punchline too much, you start to get hecklers,
Oh, boy.
And I was like, I go, I love that. I'm so happy I got that information because it just was like, duh.
Yeah.
And I was like, awesome. What a challenge. Let's go. And
And thanks for the clip notes, you know?
Straight, straight up. I just thought to myself, like, okay, you know what? Like, let's lace up our shoes. And I also realized I'm a huge hypocrite.
The, do
You
tell.
know, I can't get into too much of the specifics of it, but I would say that what I realized was that there's a lot of people in my life who I want to take care of am, and I worry about, or I am trying to express love in a very specific way. And
Hmm.
that the way that I'm expressing that love is often like trying to make decisions for them or protect them from perceived harm, right?
Hmm.
But what it ends up looking like is it's positive in like one slice at 30%, but once that starts to extend to 50 or 60%, it's totally codependent and it's judgmental. It
Hmm.
becomes judgment because it's an expression of control.
Hmm.
And so I was like, what I became aware of was all the ways that I need to grow and all the places where I'm fucked.
Hmm.
And I was kind of like, okay, you know, for every finger I've pointed in the past 7 months, it was like 7 months. Because
Hmm.
here's what happened. So just to some context, this journey, like I ended up, Prague was quite spiritual for me, but it was because I kept getting given edibles, but the edibles were so intense that they were basically hallucinogenics.
Oh,
Like I might as
fun.
well have gone on. Honestly, wasn't bad. I'm telling you, it was all fate. I felt that. I just felt like, okay, I'm going with it. And it was just a lot of realizations about all the ways I have to grow, the places where I have to be patient, and, you know, complicated feelings about getting older.
Well, we all have those, and it's part of the whole process, I believe, you know?
Yeah.
It's enlightening, and it is enlightening, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you go through these spaces in time where you think, "I get it, I'm on it, I know it, I know it, I know it," and then all of a sudden,
Yeah.
something
You don't know.
happens, and you're like, "Oh, wow, the more like, what quote I once was told, and I like, is, "The older I get, the less I know. The more I realize, the less I know."
Right.
And that's anybody with the least bit of dignity can admit that, you know? I mean, I don't always know everything all the time. You know a lot and you've learned a lot, but
Right.
you've got to be really careful about I believe you got to be really careful about, not knowing too much, not being the
Right.
know-it-all.
Right. And also just, it's a beautiful or awe-inspiring feeling, I think, and that's actually what I think awe is, right? Like awe, in my opinion or my perspective, is this awareness of there is so much I am not aware of.
Mhm.
There's so much to see. There's so much to understand. There's so much to realize. And it's the feeling of being a child. I think it's the beginner's mind is really in my mind, awe. And awe can also be this constructive emotion. It can be awe can be like really truly like, the foundations of yourself crumbling down and having these broad realizations of like it's like when I look at it, it's funny because the judgment I put towards it was more of this sense of severity about my commitment to wanting to grow or to fix those things. But if I really were to judge those things, I don't think they were so awful. I wasn't like a blasphemous evil person by any stretch. In fact, most of this stuff was coming from well intentioned, but it was just very serious in the sense that it was very clear that these were the things about myself that I have to handle.
Mhm.
They must be handled. Otherwise they'll become calcified, and I'll be one of those people that people either make excuses about or I'm making excuses about myself. And it's like, because you didn't, do your spring cleaning before Medusa arrived.
Yep. Yep. Here. Well, speaking of awe,
Yeah.
do you want to get to our subject for the week?
Well, tell me about what's going on in your life. I have to hear about you first.
Oh, God, are you sure?
Yeah, I do.
I am in the middle of this crazy, well, not crazy. It's just, it's life. My car went down, and of course, so it's a bigger, older Mercedes. It's actually the biggest older Mercedes that they make, and it's an S550, and it's a car with a lot. When you get into these cars, one of the things I like about them, I don't buy brand new cars, but one of the things I like about these cars is they're ahead of their time for when they're built. So like, me sitting next to you know, a 2025 Ford Taurus. My car is still like, it was ahead of its day,
Right.
15 years ago. So anyway, we had a really cold flash through here with the 6 inches of snow, and you know that I'm not that dude. And I had a bunch of guys in the back of my car that had come out to visit here from Wyoming for a football game, and I never have people in the back of my car.
Hmm.
So, and this is none of their fault, but I have the shocks, the struts
Yeah.
in my car are air struts. And that it turns out not only are they air struts, they are hydraulic air struts. So, and I knew this when I bought the car, and it was owned by an attorney who took meticulous care of it, always went to the Mercedes-Benz dealer. So my assumption was that everything is good with this car, but after 10 years of use, you're going to end up with things starting to need to be replaced. And if they haven't been replaced because Mercedes built a good car,
Yeah.
they may last another 5 or 10 years, but they're going to go.
Right.
And so I had put all that weight in there, and I think the car had not been used to having, like, I'm usually in there alone, had all of these people in there. Then the cold weather and stuff, I think it cracked the baffling on one side. And once you crack one, now you're putting more pressure on the other. And so I think it cracked the other side. So I had to have that repair. I'm on my way to bring the car in to be repaired. And it ends up being that I get this notice on about the radiator saying, check your radiator level, check your radiator level. Turns out about 3 weeks ago, maybe 4 weeks ago, and I remember the exact moment that I did this, where it probably started the problem there. I
There's
pulled,
like a lot of turns out. It's like a turns out after it turns out after it
yeah,
turns out. Yeah.
so I pulled up at my office one day, went a little further over the like stop thing there, the yellow bumper thing, and I heard it go, but it wasn't like a crash. It was just like, oh, bottomed out the air
Yeah.
dam.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think what I did there is put a bunch of stress on the radiator, and cracked the radiator, because when I brought it, I'm like, oh, I think it's got a little leak in the hose. And they were like, yeah, no, your radiator's toast. You've got a crack in your radiators. Effectively, $5,000 later, I get 2 new rear air struts and a new radiator. So that's how the week kind of started. And and
Oh
I just
my
bought, oh yeah, and I
God.
just bought these two. I just redid the phone thing, how every few years you have to redo the phone thing because there's a new
Yeah.
phone deal. So as soon as I was just about to have my phone and my niece's phone paid off, uh,
Niece's phone. My God.
she pays for
I
the
know.
internet here, and I pay for her phone there. But anyway, she's miss.
I'm dying because for the listeners, for our 33.5 million listeners who don't know about your niece,
Yeah,
it is
she's
so
fun.
funny.
She keeps it moving. But anyway,
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
without a job again now.
I
And
can imagine.
I
Yeah.
just went in on this phone thing, just knowing that I got to do it because she's on it, and it's just something that's continuing on. And then she ends, all of a sudden I'm getting up in the morning trying to work one day, and I can't get on the internet, and I'm like, oh, shit, the internet's out again.
Oh, yeah,
Hey
yeah.
honey, what's up? Texting, because we
Because
don't
she's the
talk.
one who runs your internet, right?
Yeah, she was the one that got it here because she needed the higher speed internet, blah 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 blah.
Right.
And so when she doesn't pay the internet bill, I don't have internet. But has she always had a
Right.
phone? Yes, she has. Has she ever never not had phone service? No, she hasn't. This turns out to be
God.
like 5 years later now. So
Yeah.
I was that in the phone thing, that was another, that's another, you don't pay it up front, but it's another, $2,500 commitment
Right, right,
in
right.
the phones. And then she's
Tough
not paying
week.
the fucking internet. And
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
dude, that's my job that pays for this shit, that makes
Right.
it so that, I don't know, you get the free stuff on the other side there with this. So just do
I
one thing and pay the
yeah.
bill. But no, my job, I lost my job, blah, blah, blah. I love her to death, but
You're
it pisses
crashing
me
out.
off because she's also going through some things with her parents right now.
Okay,
And
Chad, we're gonna have to move on. I love you. You're crashing out.
I am crashing out.
You're crashing out. Iconic, really. I'm like almost crying. I'm laughing so hard. You're like, I'm literally like, in the almost, we're like 3 years of friendship now, right? We met
Yeah.
like almost 3 years ago. Okay. In the 3 years of us being friends, I have never met you at a point where you were more fed up. You're free. You're free.
It's well, because it's not. And then the
Yeah.
contractor calls, and
Yeah.
then you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
It's just, so there we go. There was my crack out. Hey, I wanted to get on to some good things. One good thing, I'm on my way to Costa Rica and Colombia, and
You are.
beginning of January. So
Oh my
there's
God,
the
that's
good.
exciting. That's going to be fun. Are you going to take the YouTube channel there?
Hmm.
You're
Yeah,
going to
I'm
do,
actually going to be doing piece on medical tourism in
uh-huh.
Colombia, and I'll be meeting my friend who will not it does not want to be filmed on, does not want to be, she said, you can get my back and you can do this and that, but I'm not
Really?
going to be on the channel. So it'll
Why?
be
Why?
it'll
Why? Why?
it'll be interesting. Well, some people,
Why did she say you could get her back? Like, you're just going to be like, I mean, you could do like blurred face
she'll have
and
her big sunglasses on, and there'll be like, some hints of her, but she's not wanting to be, I suppose, recognized as a public figure or something like that. You know what I
is she a
mean?
public figure?
No, no, no.
She doesn't want to become a public
Nor does
figure.
she want to be recognized as a public
Yeah.
figure, right?
Yeah, she's like, they might see me, my fans. You're like,
right?
which ones?
Well, with her 7.5 million followers.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But so I'm gonna go down there with her for 10 days because she's actually doing some medical tourism there.
Is she getting BBL?
Big
Breast
black.
implants?
No, 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 no. She is
Big bag. Wait. What did you think BBL
I
means?
was gonna I started with big black. I
Oh, okay, okay.
have no idea. Um
Yeah. You're like,
no, she's
you're
got
like labia,
yeah,
big black labia.
she said something it stumbled like the other day. I no, that was my other friend Liz that and I was like, no, that's the wrong word. She's having some some work done to her, like literal medical work, not the
Okay,
kind of
okay.
work that I have been for or that ultimately oh pardon me ultimately that I'll go for another place. But I'm gonna do an interview with them down there and find out a little bit and compare what things might look like in Colombia versus Turkey, Istanbul,
Cool.
Medellin, and so
Okay,
that's the good fun.
perfect. Okay, well, let's move on to the show or
Yes,
the main part. So this week we both listened to the album Lux by Rosalia, which is a very highly acclaimed album. It's her third or fourth. It's her fourth album. And yeah, I'll let you tell me your thoughts first because we haven't reconvened on this at all. So I'm excited to hear your perspective.
we have not. When because this is something we've been trying to do for a while. We tried to get to it prior to me leaving on the cruise there to Cozumel in the Bahamas, and I was just overwhelmed. And then we've had some just back and forth. You've been traveling, I've been traveling. You've had
Right.
occasions and so forth. So I was, and I have to be honest, as I always am and will be, is that I was kind of like, God, man, it's gonna be like, another because this album, apparently
Yeah, Rosalia. Yeah.
Rosalia sings in 14 different languages.
13, 13.
13. Okay, well, I mean, four would be nice for most Americans. They couldn't even keep, right? I mean, let's just be real
Yeah.
about it. So I
Yeah.
was just kind of like, man, where is this gonna go? And I gotta really dedicate. Sometimes it's not necessarily the time that you're dedicating to something, but the commitment to be fair and
Present.
reasonable with it, right?
Present. Yeah, to give it the time and energy and the focus that it deserves.
Yeah. And I like to do that. That's one of the things that is important for me to do when I'm making a commitment to something is to be there 100%. As I've been sitting here fiddling my phone, trying to get some kind of cheats on the phone so I can speak more
Yeah.
intelligently. But long story boring is that I played it. I saw the cover of it and I was like, this is interesting. She's in the habit, habit,
Yeah, habit. Yeah, habit.
and all in white. And so this is throwing some vibes. And I put it on, and immediately the first word or words that came to mind for me is ethereal.
Yeah.
It just was angelic. It really she commands your attention, and it's almost operatic
Yeah.
if it's not even just operatic. And
It's operatic. Yeah, yeah. No,
yeah,
this is the perfect description. Yeah.
and I thought, okay, I'm down with this. And I was listening while I was working, and I think if I had to talk about tracks, I think it was the last one because it's a duet. And then the track 4 was really impressive to me. And to be
Is
clear,
that Jesus Christ?
huh?
Is that Jesus Cristo? Is that the track 4? Is that the one where she's singing an opera?
I think maybe.
It's the one where she
Uh,
like goes really, really high.
yeah. Well, she does a lot of high, bro. You know.
But there's one specific song where she's singing like very soft, and then it goes like it's the highest note in the whole album is a B flat. I think it's in Jesus Cristo mi piange or whatever. She's like piange. It's the Italian one. Let me see. It's track 4. I'm like, we gotta give people names. Let me find out. Let's find out.
I mean,
Track 4.
you realize where I started out with this. Now you want me to
Yeah.
interpret and pay attention.
Oh, so Porcelana. Okay, interesting. So Porcelana is the one that's like kind of darker. You liked that one?
I think so. Was it 5? I mean, I thought it was
5 is the one there she sings like operatic and it goes like, yeah,
5.
so that's my favorite song too, by the way.
Okay.
For me, that one, every time I listen to it, I cry. Every single time I've listened to, it's called Mio Cristo Piange Diamante. And she's saying my Christ in diamonds. And it's like really like this, like you said, it's this very ethereal album. I think, did you listen? The song after it is probably also one of my favorites, which is Burghain. Which, did you get the chance to watch the music video to that?
I did not watch the music video to her. I didn't.
Yeah, so you have to see the music video for Burghain. It's crazy.
Okay.
It's really, really amazing. And I think it's really interesting because right now I think that my guess, and this is just, I shouldn't guess this, but I suspect that Miss Swift's bot farms are kind of out for Rosalia at the moment because Rosalia because she's upended all these records.
Oh, wow.
And, T. Allison, she loves those records. And I think to do what Rosalia did, which beat out like for the highest streaming numbers in a single day with like something that was incredibly artistic, right? It's pop music, but it's not pop, right? Like it has.
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't call it pop. I mean, you may.
It's pop in the sense it's pop. It's the subversion, I would say, of pop only through her position as an artist. She has managed to claim a specific spot that has now allowed her to do very creative projects that have the same listenership as a pop artist. And that's a very interesting inversion because, right, what is the beauty of pop music but this idea that you get to have a giant audience, that you're making music for lots of people. But there's a subversion of that where you had it in Beyonce, you've had it in Lady Gaga, for example, and Rosalia, which is kind of crazy to think about because she's not as bombastic as Beyonce or Lady Gaga, who are these like ostensible performers. She's an artist. She's an artist with a capital A in the same way that Björk is, or Kate Bush, right? Somebody who's very interested in creating very interesting things and exploring ideas. But spectacle is much farther down the list.
Mm-hmm.
That would
Well,
be.
and really when I think about it, I think, and shouldn't it be for somebody who is truly an artist, the spectacle, all that fireworks and all the bullshit and stuff? I would much rather go see Carly Simon in Nantucket or
Right.
Martha's Vineyard in a field and feel what they're putting out there, because I think that that's the concept, is they want to, they're putting out like.
Well, I think we would all love to see Carly Simon in a field.
I bet she's been in one.
You're like referencing this imaginary situation with Carly Simon that sounds, first off, truly heavenly. Second, very like the kind of thing that if you heard somebody had experienced, you would be immediately envious of. Yeah, I saw Carly Simon in a field.
Well, I
It's like,
suppose maybe we have to get to doing some PR work for Rosalia then, right? We'll be like, Rosalia, in a field, in your
in a
life.
field. And you're in white, honey. Well, the thing is,
The habit becomes a big train.
well, I think so. This is the thing. You know that she did that in Barcelona.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so look it up if you can on your phone. You have to look at these pictures. Look up Rosalia Barcelona listening party. It was this giant white room. First off, it looked exactly like my art exhibition. I was furious. I was like, but they were so close. They were days apart, really. And it was just one of those things where you're just like, it's a beautiful thing to be thinking creatively and in alignment with somebody else, but it sucks when it being what you think is original and then you're showing up and somebody's wearing the same dress. You know, it's giving the same, showing up in the same dress.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Did you see the pictures?
I do. I do. Oh, wow. That's interesting. See, well, our girl knows what we're talking about.
She's amazing. And I'm really interested and curious to see how she's going to handle the tour. Because first off, I'm really sad because I'm going to be in New York when she's touring in Barcelona. So I'm not going to see her in her home city. And I'm like trying to see, like, is there a way for me to make it work? I don't know. But I think it would be really special because for me, Rosalia released Motomami, which was her album before this in 2022, right? And so when she released that album, it was like this incredible siren's call to me about the creativity that existed in and from Barcelona. And at the time I was making music. And so it was just this beautiful feeling of like you can make amazing things here.
Well, I think
Creativity.
it's
Yeah.
probably, I'm kind of feeling anymore these days like Barcelona may be ground zero for, human enlightenment and creativity and so forth. Because we sure as hell don't have it here at
It's
that
it's
level.
it's well, the thing that's interesting is I'm like, I think especially coming from the comedy scene standpoint, I do great and after my experience in Prague, I do greatly appreciate what New York is, right, for comedy. I go, okay, that's a tough city, but they have the best and it's because they demand the best. So I have to give respect where respect is due. Like New York is comedy. And but I agree that I think that especially with a lot of art, um, there has to be a sense of security and safety for people to create, in ways that are liberated. And especially in America right now, so many people are just scraping by. It's terrible for creativity.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Scrape. Yeah.
when was the yeah, yeah, I'm just gonna go with yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Let me
Yeah.
ask you something because you kind of draw a parallel to something that I was going to ask about with Rosalia.
Hmm.
In Europe, as she has come to this place and has approached this fame, how did how did that manifest? I mean, was it something? I mean, was it truly like an overnight thing, or was it just kind of like, there's this woman, you should check it out? Like, I mean, how?
Interesting. So she had her kind of breakthrough with El Mal Carrer. But the truth with Rosalie is very interesting because she actually, when she was 15 or 16, she was singing, making music, and she went on a reality show, like an American Idol in
Okay,
Spain, and she failed.
wow,
She kind of got booed out.
wow,
Maybe not completely, but she was flailing, couldn't find the note, sung flat, all this stuff. She ended up focusing on music. She went to a very prestigious musical institution in Barcelona and she started to sing and dance flamenco. And so once she did that, her thesis project would become her first album.
Okay.
Well, her second album. So we know she has, look, so she makes Los Angeles when she went to Los Angeles. I've never listened to it, but her big breakthrough was El Mal Querer, which she made the majority of while she was in college as her thesis project. And so it was that would become this breakout album. And she would end up being made famous because she brought flamenco into pop music and she fused the two in a very interesting way.
Interesting, because the other thing that I did not say going into this was which was on my mind listening to it, is the flamenco element of it
Yeah, there are a couple songs like La Madruga,
toward the
the one where they're like,
beginning.
it's actually towards the second half, I
Okay.
think, and maybe Porcelana, but basically when they go like that was one of the ones from like El Mal Carrer because it has that a very specific kind of percussive beat. Yeah, so she never released it. El Mal Carrer brought it onto this album. Point is, she has that kind of breakthrough with El Mal Carrer because it gets best new music
Okay.
from Pitchfork. She has gotten best new music for El Mal Carrer, Motomami, and Lux, which is a pretty major. That's like really, really rare.
Little
Like,
trifecta.
yeah, it's just, um, she's maintained a certain level of excellence and has managed to surprise one of the most difficult and finicky music publications on the planet. Like Pitchfork sometimes it gets it wrong a lot. And they also don't I don't think they champion Rosalia. Does that make sense? Because they will champion people. They'll be like, this is the best thing since sliced bread, and they'll give them a really high score. With Rosalia, because she's kind of a pop artist, they're naturally not going to take her seriously. She just manages to be very, very, very surprising and interesting. And I think, so yeah, she made Motomami after El Mal Carrer, and that was a sensation. It was a sensation. It was pop music. It was short. It was fast, and it was sexy. And the song Saoko, she saw these videos of these people who were driving like motorcycles, right? These women, and they would do tricks on motorcycles. And she said, I want to do my music video with them. And so they made a music video with her riding on the back of these people doing, and that's what fucking Motomami was. And it was an identity. It was incredible to see her perform that at Primavera Sound in Spain. It was like the roof blew off. She was so fucking cool. She built a world. She's a world builder. And so with Lux, it's like it's the yearning for the transcendental. And she said that she's a huge fan of Björk. Like that's her number one favorite female artist. And that to me is really clear in her work because Björk also tackles projects from very large macroscopic ideas and then figures out how to create an ecosystem within it. And to me, in a lot of ways, I think that Rosalia's Lux album is very similar to Björk's Vespertine album, which Vespertine is Björk's album about sex and love, which was when she was essentially manifesting what would become her husband of 12 years, Matthew Barney. And that's a whole different story, and we'll have to do a different episode to that. But point is, that cover, if you look up the cover of Vespertine, okay, look up the cover of Vespertine and tell me if you can't see that they're connected. They're sisters.
Wow, it's all that monochromatic again, and the
Yeah.
laying in the
Yeah. Right, but the difference is that with Bjork's, it was about sex. It was about sensuality and it was about surrender. But Lux is also about surrender, but it's surrender to the divine.
yeah, that was something else that I caught on to. Is this is kind of like her connection with the divine, or her, her source, or however.
Yeah, that's what the opening song she has, right? In this opening song, she talks about how can I connect earth to the sky, to heaven and earth? How can I be between those two worlds, right?
Mhm.
And so it's like, this is the thesis statement. And I think it does an amazing job. I think it's awesome. I just think it's awesome. You have to see Burghain. When I saw Burghain, the music video, I watched it with Kate, and we were like, I kid you not, Chad, it was the most arresting, jaw-dropping thing I saw this year, heard this year. Like, to experience that music video, to see it, we just looked at each other and said, like, we didn't have words.
Wow.
His job. And I love that. And for me, that's what was the thing about this album that's awesome is it's cohesive, right? But it's it's massive. It's it's incredibly verbose. It's overflowing with language. It's overflowing with options of songs. There's another one that I really love, which was Dios is un stalker, which is God is a stalker. And it's this idea that he's always at her neck. That when she started to, I think, connect with the readings of like the Bible, it was like the sensation of God is literally always right here, you know? But not only that, but the ultimately the positive of that too, right? And so that's is very interesting. In Ugler, which is like the second to last song, I think, or third to last song, there's a sample. She samples a quote from Patti Smith, which is she says, break on through to the other side, right? And it's a quote from Patti Smith when she's like 28 or 29. She goes, but you just keep breaking through. And there's another one, and there's another door. And she goes, Allah said, I want 1,000 heavens. She goes, well, let's have 1,000,000. She goes, 1,000's not enough. 1,000,000's not enough. You just got to keep going. And I think, yeah, I think the thing about Rosalia is that she is like, she gets embroiled into drama, but the drama is so silly. Like right now, she's like surrounded, like she got in trouble because they asked her if she was a feminist. And she said she surrounds herself with feminist texts and voices. And they were like, why won't you just say you're a feminist? And I think it was because she's probably traumatized from failed media coverage where she's like, because at one point she got in like a lot of drama on this press tour. And it's just like, I really do think that like there's just snipers, you know, they're trying to figure out how they can drag her down. So yeah, it's interesting. It's tough. I think it's tough to live in a world with Taylor Swift. I'm kidding.
Yeah. I'm certain that I'm certain it is. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
or has been anyway. I mean, Taylor's seems to be, having some challenges of her own though now, which is probably earned.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, so I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I
What
did.
was your favorite songs? Were you liked that last song? You really liked the last song?
Yeah, that was the duet. If I'm really
No, it's not too wet. There's a group. There's all these voices that go, Tirame magnolias, and it's about her singing about her dying. That when she dies, throw magnolias upon me.
Is she doesn't make it clear that she's got a particular religion that she adheres to, does she?
I think she's Catholic.
Okay.
I'm almost certain she's Catholic.
Okay.
I think,
It would
yeah.
make sense if she's from Spain.
Yeah.
Interesting. No, in terms of I will need to listen to it again. I will want to listen to it again, for even better context. But, I went twice,
Mhm.
and which was a whole lot better than where I started out. Cause I was like, I don't know, he picked this one.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
totally.
which is not fair. But at least
It's okay.
I'm being honest, right? When the film that I had for you from 1978 or 81 or whatever, you're probably like, okay, sure.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's what this is all about too, is kind of growing within ourselves and sharing back and
Right.
forth these, different things that we see maybe that are more influenced by our demographic, or
Right.
age or whatever. I would, if we're getting down to how do I view it on a ranking system,
Yeah.
I mean, it is a full on 10. It is a full on 10. And that's without me really, with albums, I like to go back to them multiple times because it's music. I seem to pick up something more every time. But
Right.
this has started out from the gate as a 10, and it completely not what I expected I would be listening to. And it's a real joy to have that in my day, the way that I had it in my day while I was kind of doing some other stuff.
That's the best. I think that's the truth. That for me, I think people always say, like, close your eyes and listen to the album. I go, don't do that. I go, sure, sure, sure. First listen. Second listen, go out, go for a fucking walk. I think that the beauty of an album is often what brings you back to it is a nostalgia for the memory of when you first experienced it.
Hmm. Hmm.
At least for me, I go, some of my favorite albums, I think I'm attempting to recapture or rewrite the joy that I have associated with it, you know? I
Hmm.
go, I think I remember there was this album by Yves Tumor, who's one of the people who's featured on this album by Rosalia. He had an album that I listened to in Prague, and at the time I said, okay, that was interesting. One of my favorite memories ever. Just like, I love it. I go, I will always love this album. And even when I re-listen, I go, okay, it's nice. It's very nice. But it's like, yeah, but to wander around Prague, listening to it, going in and out of record shops, getting candy from these big candy shops, wandering about, just having nowhere to be, you know, drifting in this world is a beautiful thing.
Hmm.
To me, that's in my perspective, I think I believe that shoes are for wearing until they fall apart. I don't think that they should be in a mausoleum. I don't like people that put their shoes in mausoleums. I don't trust them. I don't trust you if your phone doesn't have scratches on it. And I don't trust a person who would only listen to an album like alone in their bedroom and never out in the world and like take it. Like it's like this is the beauty of music is that it's art that you can take with you.
Hmm. And it drives you through those times too, you know? I mean,
Yeah.
it really performs a service while you're in that moment, you know? I mean, that
Yeah.
day I was getting some work done and I'm over here and I'm listening over here and I'm like,
Yeah.
and it kind of had me just moving through the day and
Yeah.
what I was doing because of the way it's fashioned, you know?
Awesome. Well, okay, so for my rating of it, I'm gonna give it 0.5 out of 10. I'll give it a 9.5 out of 10. I think it's a really, really awesome album. I think it's, it's definitely, I think it's stellar. I think there's probably one song I could live without, maybe one or two, and that's it. I really love it. I think it's great. I think she's fantastic. I really like Rosalia. She's a Sagittarius rising like you. We love a Sagittarius rising. And I feel bad that most likely Taylor's pot farm is probably like trying to, snipe her out right now. I feel like, but I'm like, you got this, queen. Like, may you slay the dragon. She's on.
My God.
She's got God on her side.
There
That's
we
the
go.
thing.
There we
Yeah.
go.
So he's got
You
God.
know?
You got God on your side. So don't forget it. But yeah,
Something else I would say, saying ethereal and the like cut the flamenco connection, so forth. I'd also venture to say it was the continuity was there in a way that I haven't necessarily or feel I have necessarily heard in music lately and on albums, I guess, really lately,
right.
where, this was the same person singing, but with, different elements to that. And that was kind of really nice because it kind of, I won't say pigeonholed, but she has a place on a shelf for me now.
Right. It does. There's a delicate balance of creating a diversity and feeling anchored to the narrator. What's interesting is that a lot of fixed signs are singers. And it's because I do believe that often having a voice that is recognizable it requires a certain quality that
That's the computer. It's Apple. It's
yeah.
all dialed into itself so that you can be tangled up in Apple.
the way that the way that we the way they both looked at each other and like you looked over there was like I was gonna reach through the computer and like like, I was gonna swat you.
Steve got this all hooked up so that once you're in everywhere. And far be it for me to be in the middle of a podcast when,
Yeah.
Steve wants me to hear a message that I'm not listening to on my phone. I better get it out on my laptop.
Oh, that's crazy. Oh,
Yeah.
it's so funny. Okay, well, everybody, that was the episode. Thank you again for being with us, all 33.5 million of you.
Here.
My name's Nikolai Phelan.
And
This
I'm
is,
Chad Church.
and this was Hullabaloo from us.
To you. Love you.
Peace out, baby. Bye.